Multiplication is the operation used to bring amounts of equal size together. For example, there are 10 flowers. Each flower has 6 petals. How many petals are there in all? With multiplication, we can write 10 times 6 equals 60. The numbers we are multiplying together are called factors. The answer is called the product. Multiplication has several very useful properties. The first is the commutative property. With the commutative property, you can change the order of the numbers that you are multiplying, and the result will be the same. For example, I can have 6 flowers, each with 10 petals. The total number of petals is 60. The next property is the associative property. You can change the grouping of the numbers you are multiplying, and the result will be the same. For example, here I have grouped 2 times 3, which is 6, and 6 times 4 is 24. On the other side, I have grouped the 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 12 is also 24. The next property is the identity property. You can multiply any number by 1, and the result will be the same. For example, 6 times 1 equals 6. Let's look at what happens when you multiply by 0. You can multiply any number by 0, and the result will be 0. For example, 6 times 0 equals 0. Sometimes it is useful to know how to multiply a number by a power of 10. Move the decimal point one place to the right for each 0 in the power of 10. For example, 52 times 10, 10 has 1 0, so we move our decimal one place to the right. 52 times 100, 100 has 2 zeros. We move our decimal 2 places to the right. 52 times 1,000, 1,000 has 3 zeros, so we move our decimal 3 places to the right. 52 times 10,000, 10,000 has 4 zeros. We move our decimal 4 places to the right. Let's begin multiplying whole numbers together. First, line up both numbers vertically by their place value. Although this is not absolutely necessary, it will help us to keep our work more organized and more accurate. Next, we will multiply each digit in the second factor by each digit in the first factor. We'll begin with the digit furthest to the right. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. Now that we are done multiplying by the digit in the first column, we will go to the second line and write a placeholder 0 in the first column. Now we can multiply by the next digit. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. Lastly, we will add the partial products to get our final answer. 26 plus 130 equals 156. Let's practice multiplying whole numbers. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32. Now on the next line, I will write a 0 as a placeholder because we've already used the first column. Begin with 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Now that I have my partial products, I'll add them together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 and 6 is 11. 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. 3 plus 6 is 9. And 1. 19,512. For our next one, I'm going to multiply 6 times 3, which is 18. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 4 is 24. Since we're finished with the first column, we'll write a placeholder 0. Go to the next number. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 7 times 4 is 28. 8 plus 0 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 2 is 3. 30,628. In our next two examples, you will see that the factors have zeros in them. Remember when we multiplied by powers of 10 that this merely changes the place value. So let's look at our first multiplication with 0. 0 times 648 will be 0. Instead of writing a whole line of zeros to be added on later, I'll use the 0 as a placeholder, and that column is done. Move to the next column. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 times 6 is 12. Our answer is 12,960. Our next example, you'll notice that we're going to start by multiplying by 0. Instead of adding up a whole line of zeros, we'll just use that 0 as a placeholder. We go to the next number. It's also a 0. Instead of writing another line of zeros, we'll just use that as a placeholder. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Our answer, 370,200.